So guys, I want to, in this video, talk about LinkedIn profile optimization. So watch my first video for insights into why you should be using LinkedIn for lead generation and also for influencer marketing and just building your personal as well as your company brand. But one of the key aspects to that, of course, is LinkedIn profile optimization. And what I want to talk to you today is all of the aspects. If you understand these fundamentals, then you, irrespective of the changes that happen on the LinkedIn platform, you can make sure that you get an incredible result from the actual perception of your profile. So these and what we'll also do when we talk about profile optimization, we'll also expand it out to company-wide profile optimization. So there's two elements of it. And in this video, I'll talk about individual LinkedIn profile optimization. And then in the next video, we'll talk about company-wide, because there's things that you must consider when it applies to your company at large. One of the things that we do at Pearl Lemon Leads is look at company-wide profile optimization. So it's just a consideration that a lot of people don't think about in context of LinkedIn overall. You're as much as you're operating as an individual, you're often, if you're an SDR, if you're a sales, marketing director, client relationship manager, whatever you might be, you're representing your company. And even if it's an individual brand, it's often composed of several people that work for you as part of your brand, depending upon the success of your brand. So both things, there's a contingency on both, okay? So let's talk about profile optimization first of all. And there's some basic rules, I would say, that I see people getting wrong all the time. We're going to begin with the seemingly simplest thing, but 95% of people that I see do get this wrong when it comes to your profile. So when it comes to the profile picture, it's super simple. People that smile and show teeth are trusted more than people that don't smile, or rather that don't smile, of course, as well as people that smile but don't show teeth. So smiling and showing your teeth, it blows my mind how straightforward that sounds in principle, but in practice, go and look at LinkedIn right now. Scroll through your network, scroll through the news feed, have a look at people's profiles, and you'll see a lot of people that aren't smiling, okay, or smiling with teeth. That's the first thing. The second thing is we build layers upon that is a lot of people aren't looking straight at the camera. It's incredible. I don't know why people don't do it. You have people that are looking here, people that are looking there, people that do all kinds of mannerisms, look directly at the camera, okay? That's just a simple, small element to it, okay? The third bucket is you're smiling now, you're looking at the camera. Imagine this is the crop. Why have you got all your body in the crop? So that when people are scrolling on their mobile device, on their laptop, on their desktop, your picture, as in the important part where people gain trust, your face is that much further away. Crop just maximum just below your shoulders or just above. But the main thing that we care about is the face, okay? So crop just around the face, mouth wide open, teeth looking straight ahead and smiling, okay? I kind of feel ridiculous talking about these things, but it's ridiculous that what, and this is where sometimes people make mistakes, that what seems ridiculously simple isn't apparently that simple at all. So that's the next thing. Now, when you are looking at the camera, don't do a side off, birthday, graduation, or school type photo where it's like this or that to get your jawline, to get your most attractive side. The goal of the picture and the goal of the platform profile is to engender trust. Okay. And the way that you engender trust, hang on, I'm just checking that I've got the right mic connected. Yeah. The way that you engender trust is by looking straight at the person and smiling and saying, hey, I'm Deepak. Hey, I'm etc. etc. Okay. So none, hey, how you doing? Right. So you'll notice the next part of that, crossed hands, this, that. Cut all of that out. Don't use any of that when it comes to your LinkedIn profile picture, okay? I cannot overemphasize that the thing that you want to do is not distract, not distort, but to create immediate trust from you as a person, which is why the smile straight ahead will capture the biggest pool of people when it comes to people immediately landing on you, because landing on your profile, because what you want to communicate is there's a person that I can trust. Okay. So that's the other thing that you want to be mindful of. Now, as we continue, there's going to be other elements that are important. So everyone has ultimately their own choices about facial hair, piercings, tattoos, or otherwise. The main thing is don't distract from creating that trust. So if you have an option between the dyed pink hair days and other days where it's more sleek, then pick the picture that most prominently will create and establish trust. And that's the thing that you need to keep in mind, okay? The creation of trust. As we think furthermore about the photo, high quality, high resolution, foreground really clear, high quality camera, and contrast, strong contrast between background, which is plain wall or plain background, or ultimately, if you've got the bokeh effect so that it's blurred in the background, the foreground, which is your face, needs to be super, super visible. Okay. Even for example, right now, as I see, the sun is not giving me the lighting that I want. I'm not getting the level of visibility. So this is an example of where it's kind of fallen short. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the light on and see if that makes a difference. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But what I can do is I can come closer to the camera. So I think that it's quite critical that you get that part nailed. Okay, so we just been speaking about the picture literally and the smile and the contrast of the background. So white wall is completely fine, different color wall, but one color in the background that contrasts you is ideal. And then also ideally, to be honest with you, that I'm wearing, as you can see, this part stands out more than the color of the shirt. So ideally for your picture, you want strong contrast of colors. Okay, strong contrast of colors creates for a more striking image, and a more striking and trustworthy image helps you get noticed more and helps you get trusted more. And simplicity here is key. So no more complications of funny hats, funny poses, arms crossed, this type of picture, any funny faces, just simple, straightforward, smiling straight ahead. Okay, so that's the profile picture. It's just all about the profile picture. Then you got the option of the cover image. Okay. Now you can, depending upon the latest LinkedIn updates, you can leave video at as well as your actual image. We'll kind of come back to this, but the short story is that make full use of all of the elements of your profile. To optimize a profile, try and fill in every single element of that profile. So I do tend to believe that more is more. Now you will see, and this is where there's some debates about the best ways to optimize profiles. If you want a singular point of focus because all of your history is irrelevant, then you can just talk about the one thing and not talk about anything else because you want to create focus when it comes to your profile. But we'll come back to this from a broader principle standpoint. Now let's talk about your cover image, okay? So cover images should contain strong calls to action, okay? So when I say a cover image should contain strong calls to action, you often see, and you may well see it on mine potentially. Again, this applies to those who use LinkedIn as a ultimately platform to grow their brand. And to be honest with you, to that degree, I should be acting, because I'm not acting on every single element of my advice, but I look at profiles where they are going to do LinkedIn lead generation, and I think these things are lacking. So your profile image, the cover image, must contain a strong call to action. So generate 30 leads in 30 days, find out how. Will design your entire website in less than 3 working days. Get a beautiful new site developed for 17.99. Whatever your call to action is, a strong call to action with ultimately an offer, a really awesome offer, is a fantastic thing to put in your cover image. Okay. And a lot of people, I don't know, they put patterns, they put the company logo, but use it as an option or rather an opportunity to have a compelling statement to encourage people to want to talk to you. So that is incredibly valuable real estate, because when someone sees you in the feed and then they click on your smiling picture, they'll then go to your profile, and the first thing they'll see, before they look at anything that's below it, which is, your professional biography or your about us and featured stories or images or comments, whatever it might be, is your cover image. Okay. It's it's a cover image. It's like the cover of a book. Cover of the book contain your picture, but it can also contain the title. And that's where the cover image becomes really important. So strong call to action. Don't put any other social icons or anything else that's distracting because it isn't clickable. It isn't that someone can click your image and go somewhere. But what you want to do is have a clear call to action. So there's an incentive to engage with your profile. There's an incentive to potentially book a call in. There's an incentive to message you. So this is the key thing I think that you really need to consider when it comes to the cover image. Then you've got your actual profile title, if you will. So that could be, for example, Deepak Shukla. I think it currently is, and it may well have changed by the time you watch this, but it may well be Deepak Shukla, lead investor at the Pearl Lemon Group. Okay, so what you'll sometimes see is author, speaker, entrepreneur, host. Too many differing titles dilutes the main message of whatever it is that you're trying to communicate. And you may well do all of those things, but it's better that people get to know you as being an expert in one thing. And this is something that, if I'm being honest, if you're an entrepreneur, it's a difficult thing to do. If you're a business owner, it's a difficult thing to do because you may be involved in several businesses. You may be conflicted about how to use your LinkedIn profile. You may worry that people will have no other idea about different aspects of your business. And I say to you, and I say to you as much as I say it to myself, that's okay. The whole world doesn't need to know. And it's better to lead with one strong message, lead investor at the Pearl Lemon Group, or I help small to medium businesses generate an additional 30 qualified leads per month, or we are an inbound marketing expert, can double your organic traffic in 90 days. So again, do you see that there's a parallel with the strong call to action in the cover image and potentially a strong call to action in your actual name section? Or you can simply put something such as Deepak Shukla, SEO expert. So the naming section, as well as your primary job title, are really, really key pieces. And I think that what sometimes happens is that we look at all of those pieces independently when what you want to do is communicate a consistent story that is the narrative of your LinkedIn profile. So that's the important thing to consider. Now, as you can see, we're going methodically, piece by piece, through every section of your LinkedIn profile. And the key here, and again, this is something that isn't followed carefully enough. The key here is to fill in every single aspect of your LinkedIn profile. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again because it's so important. Every single aspect of your LinkedIn profile, and month to month, year to year, there'll be changes in the features that LinkedIn offers on individual profiles. But you have work experience, you have qualifications, you have associations that you're interested in or associate with, and you have any potentially charity work or anything else that you've done. So these things are not that likely to change. So with that in mind, fill them all out. Okay? Fill them all out because people have come to your profile to get to know more about you. So use that opportunity to show them as much about yourself that's relevant to the end goal as possible. And I think that that's the thing that also you need to factor in when it comes to profile optimization, that what are you trying to optimize for? What is the end goal of this process? And then based upon that, you can correlate or ultimately adjust your profile to really drive home a certain point. So a practical example, if I'm using LinkedIn to grow the SEO business, then I can make my LinkedIn profile extremely SEO centric. So that'd be an example. And that's probably a good example because when it comes to our business, we get way more lead generation inquiries than we do SEO inquiries. So therefore, it would be quite good to carve out the SEO side of what we do on my LinkedIn profile. So that'd be a simple example, right? So thinking about what you're trying to optimize for, and then pulling out from every historical piece of work experience that you've had, the elements that relate to what you're trying to optimize for. So across any work experience that you've had, You may have had done several things, but if you're trying to fundamentally promote yourself as an author, then talk about stuff that relates to potentially writing, editorial work, anything that relates to storytelling and narrative probably will support the perspective that you're an author with a lot of historical experience, or you can write about or include books that you've written, whether they've been published or not. You can add that as experience within your profile. So, simple example, if I want to say that I'm Deepak Shukla, I'm an author, I mean, I've written a 75,000 word book or novella that I didn't publish, but I have it on my Google Drive and it's been edited and it probably could be ready for publish. So I could put that as a 3-month project on my LinkedIn profile and actually add it as a piece of work experience because it was experience. I did work at it. So be liberal with perspective because what you're trying to do, and this is what people perhaps don't appreciate enough when it comes to your profile, is pull out the things that you think are going to support the main goal of the optimization, and then you can really build a strong case for being an expert in that niche. So this is the work experience. This is the featured section, which again is so the featured section is a really, really important area. You have, an opportunity and the names again may change over time. You have an opportunity to showcase achievements or things that you want to promote. So this carousel is such valuable real estate. It's such valuable real estate. So really thinking about, and again, if you're in the service-based industry, then there's a couple of truisms when it comes to the things that you want to have on that carousel. You want to have, for example, an opportunity to book with you. You want to talk about your history. You want to talk about your expertise. You want to talk about anything notable that's been said about you in the press. And these things generally don't deviate. So therefore, just make sure you fill those things in. And when you don't have some of those things, then probably in absence or in lieu of that, then you can just promote the brand or the product that you're associated with. Now, that's probably the best way to approach it because it may be the case for some of you that you feel that you haven't got that much to say. I mean, at one level, do more things so you have more to say. I mean, it is as simple as that to some regard. In order to flesh out and fill out your LinkedIn profile, then do have more things to say because then you'll be able to fill it out more. But for each of your work experiences, we kind of now, as I talk about this, I'm moving into the space of thinking about how to impress anyone who's reading your LinkedIn profile. And there's a couple of things that are important when it comes to any place or company that you worked at. And this doesn't deviate across resumes, across LinkedIn, across first time introductions. What anyone who wants to engage with you is looking for is evidence of expertise and evidence of excellence. And they can often go hand in hand. Okay. I'll say that again. Evidence of expertise and evidence of excellence. These are the two things that people, anyone, will want if they're making a buying decision. And when we're talking about buying, it can be subscribing, it can be following, it can be downloading, it can be booking, whatever, whichever one of these ultimately verbs describe the ultimate outcome of anyone looking at your profile is. With all of that in mind, you want to be persuasive when it comes to the content that you put into your LinkedIn profile. So don't simply think of it as your historical work experience. Think of it as sales copy. What am I doing? By telling you about my previous work experience, I'm actually selling myself. And if you can make that paradigm shift that in talking about your historical work experience, you're actually selling yourself, then it may well change the way that you communicate about your historical work experience. It may change the way that you communicate about your voluntary work experience or anything else of that regard that requires a description on your LinkedIn profile. You are selling yourself and your skills. It is not a mindless or thoughtless exercise in description filling. Okay, it's purposeful, it's intentful, and it's impactful if you do it correctly. So it's really important to get that right when it comes to all manner of descriptions on your profile. Okay, then you have other areas which are endorsements slash recommendations. So there's look on your profile, there's two or three areas which take the names of endorsements, skills, recommendations. Okay, and I'll kind of talk about them in a bucket. you want on your profile as many references as possible. Okay. So when I say references, is people that say, yes, you have this skill. I think you get to 99 plus and then it stops ultimately counting. So if there's two or three skills that are considered to be your top skills, make sure that all of them are 99 plus. Okay. It's a exercise in outreach to people within your network. And if you can get them to endorse you, so you've got 99 plus for skill endorsements, it's just going to serve that much better. I always find it funny when I see someone who calls themselves a speaker and I look at their skills and they don't list speaker, or they do list speaker, but it's their seventh skill and they've got 10 endorsements. I think, well, you can't be that good a speaker. You must have just labeled yourself a speaker without really being a speaker. So that's the important thing to consider when it comes to the skill endorsements. Making sure that it's congruent and there's profile congruency, right? And this is the important point about focus. You might have really impressive stuff, but if it's scattered and disparate and seemingly disconnected, it's going to confuse the mind of the prospect, and that's going to stop you from getting the conversion that you want. So that's where focus and consistency becomes really important. And that applies to your endorsements, okay? So make sure that your skills marry up with the what you're trying to optimize for, okay? So if you're optimizing to get lead generation inquiries, and maybe your skill is lead generation, cold emailing, LinkedIn, paid media. If you're optimizing for SEO, then your main skills might be link building and technical SEO. So make sure that they are congruent, because that's going to help people, even if it's at a subconscious level, make decisions based around consistency of brand and consistency of history when it comes to reviewing your LinkedIn profile. So that's that bucket that relates to skill endorsements. Then it comes to recommendations. And again, I just find it incredible that you can have people that have fantastic profiles, but then they have barely any recommendations. You want to go out there, and it seems like a big number, but it isn't. Go out there and get 50 recommendations. You need to ask 100 people. One in two will say yes. Therefore, build a list of 100 people, ask them for recommendations, treat it as an exercise, follow up diligently until you get to that number. Going from 0 to 50 is massive, and it makes a significant difference when people see that and they get that sense of trust that, oh, wow, okay, this person has been recommended by a lot of serious professionals on LinkedIn because it's a B2B networking platform, or business to business or person to person business networking. I should say P2P business networking platform, person to person. So with that in mind, having as many recommendations as possible is going to really, really help. Okay? As many recommendations as possible. So reach out to friends, family, associates, and get those in. Now, if you follow these elements, you're already going to be in the top percentile of LinkedIn profiles. Okay, top percentile. And the only other thing and I begin to repeat myself now, so we'll bring things to a close, is make sure you filled out every element of your profile, guys. Every element. Don't leave bits out. Spend the extra 20 minutes. You get such an outsized return from LinkedIn if you put in a little bit more effort. Think of it as cramming for an exam. Do one big push for one day, get a lot of this done, maybe do another big push, and it will pay dividends years later when you have 99 plus on the skill endorsements, when you have 50 plus recommendations, when you have a great profile picture, you have a great cover image, you have an entirely filled out history. You're already putting yourself into the top percentile of LinkedIn profiles, which will only benefit you because of how trusted the platform is. And by optimizing your profile, you're just going to get way more positive reception from any outreach or any inbound activity that's happening to drive people to your profile and indeed to fundamentally your inbox. So these are my thoughts on LinkedIn profile optimization. And these things hold true irrespective of how the platform may change in the next several years, because it's all about presentation, it's all about perception. And if you can give the best presentation of the best version of yourself, you're just going to do that much better. So this is everything on LinkedIn profile optimization. in the next video, we'll talk about LinkedIn company people optimization, because it's not just you, it's your entire, ultimately, company and individuals. And we'll talk about that in the next video. Thank you.